Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try and lay down my thoughts here and explain what I think is going on with this coronavirus conspiracy. Okay, so, guess I'm going to start by establishing a motive for the conspiracy. And we're going to go back to this man, George Bernard Shaw. He was an Irish playwright, critic, polemicist, which is someone who argues, and political activist. His influence on Western theater culture and politics extended from the 1880s to his death and beyond. So he's very influential on Western culture. But the key thing here is he was a member of the Fabian Society. Other notable members of the Fabian Society would be H.G. Wells and John Dewey. H.G. Wells, like the famous author, and John Dewey was instrumental in influencing the education system as we know it today. So the Fabian Society is a British socialist organization whose purpose is to advance the principles of democratic socialism via gradualist and reformist effort in democracies rather than by revolutionary overthrow. So the people behind the one world government conspiracy are also behind the Fabian Society and like the Bolshevik Revolution, right? They're behind all these revolutions in history. The thing is, with the Fabian Society, rather than do revolution, they do these slow incremental changes. So that's why America has become slowly more socialist, is because of the influence of this Fabian Society, which George Bernard Shaw was a member, also H.G. Wells, who wrote, like, they're influential in they're like a futurist society. They're establishing what's going to go down in the future. H.G. Wells wrote a book called The Shape of Things to Come, for example, and he also wrote a book called The New World Order. I know it was all, again, a Fabian socialist. So why am I talking about George Bernard Shaw when this has to do with the coronavirus? Well, we're going to establish a motive here. Here is a video I want y'all to check out with George. We got our boy George Bernard Shaw here. Actually, I'm not in the right. Oh, I am. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Hopefully the audio works.
I never know exactly how to make my opinion clear, because I object to all punishment whatsoever. I don't want to punish anybody. But there are an extraordinary number of people whom I want to kill. Not in any unkind or personal spirit, but it must be evident to all of you, you must all know half a dozen people at least, who are no use in this world, who are more trouble than they are worth. And I think it would be a good thing to make everybody come before a properly appointed board, just as he might come before the income tax commissioners, and say every 5 years or every 7 years, just put him there and say, sir or madam, now will you be kind enough to justify your existence? If you can't justify your existence, if you're not pulling your weight in the social vote, if you're not producing as much as you consume, or perhaps a little more, then clearly we cannot use the big organization of our society for the purpose of keeping you alive, because your life does not benefit us and it can't be of very much use to you.
Notice the rhetoric he's using there. That's very modern, right? The sustainability, producing, consuming. If you're not producing as much as you consume, then you're no use to society, is their viewpoint. Well, who's not producing as much as they consume? Elderly people? And who is the coronavirus targeting? Like, it's crazy, the death rate from an age, when it gets to the elderly people, the death rate goes up an insane amount. It seems like a bioengineered weapon from these people who who constantly write about depopulation. They support the ideas of Thomas Malthus, who had the work about overpopulation, and you reach a certain limits. I think it was called Limits to Growth was his paper. So they constantly talk about depopulation and useless eaters as being a problem. And as you see George Bernard Shaw here, he says that these Fabian socialists, they want this idea of people going before a panel and having to justify their existence. So what is the coronavirus? Isn't this the perfect weapon to kill all the useless eaters, the elderly who just consume and they don't produce for the system? So we've established a motive. And I'm going to show you here this Fox News clip, which I found very interesting. Is there people from an official from China tweeted that the US military was responsible for this virus, and Fox News is trying to dismiss it as a conspiracy theory. And that's earlier in this clip. They're talking about trying to dismiss what this Chinese official said about the US being responsible as a conspiracy theory, and then they're talking about disinformation on Twitter, and they mentioned this conspiracy that the Bill Gates Foundation is behind this coronavirus and that it's a bioweapon. And I think there's some truth to that, and it's funny they identify that at the end of this clip. I'll play the audio. If I play the video, I think I'll get a strike. I think I can get away with playing this audio, but this is the authoritarian mainstream propaganda at work, trying to make the truth seem like a conspiracy theory. Okay, we'll go here.
Information about this virus remains a challenge. Fox News has obtained a recent State Department report showing more than 2 million tweets worldwide across 6 weeks earlier this year spread coronavirus conspiracies. The most prolific lies: that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation created it and it was manufactured as a biological weapon. Officials here say they are working aggressively to combat international disinformation about the coronavirus. Shannon?
All right, Rich Edson at the State Department, thank you.
Yeah, well, there you had it. I kind of missed the part out there a little bit where he talked about all the disinformation on Twitter, but that's basically what I think is going on. This is, in my opinion, it's a bioweapon. Also, there's the Simpsons shows Trump president, and it talks about economic collapse. So there's a lot of things tying together here. I feel like, yeah, this is definitely a 9/11 type event where life isn't going to be the same anymore. Just like after 9/11, like this, having all these sports canceled and late night comedians performing to empty audiences. Everyone's going to live life differently after this, I think. I'm predicting. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting how they canceled sports, which is something they use to distract the masses, right? And what are all these sports fans going to do now that they don't have sports to distract them? Are they actually going to think about their lives and that we don't really live in a free society and we're being mentally enslaved with propaganda and indoctrination? Are they going to maybe read a book or something? Who knows? But, well, I guess we'll see what develops. And that's the coronavirus conspiracy. Basically just to get rid of the elderly, useless eaters who are a drain on the economy and don't produce anything for our technocrats that rule our society. Thank you.